Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. In this one we'll be creating something from scratch. It's going to be a booking page where you have, depending on your situation of course, where you have some rooms or where you have a hotel or one room can also be the case, where people will be able to filter on a date and they will be able to see if there is still an availability, and then they can select the dates they want to come, and then like that they can book the room. So this is going to be a little bit of a bigger or a longer video, so it's going to be probably split up in different ones depending on how fast we can go, because I haven't created anything. So the only thing you see, I have installed some plugins already. I've installed the Kadence theme and that's already just set up, but otherwise I haven't done anything specific with this website yet. So we have to create the custom post types, we have to set up everything booking related, and this is going to be the first part of the video. So you'll also learn a bit about creating custom post types, attaching some meta boxes to them, and then also applying that inside of a template. So we're going to use as Kadence, but also more Crocoblock and Jet Engine, JetBooking, these kind of plugins we are going to use a little bit more in this video. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive right into it. First thing we need, so I have the JetBooking plugin activated, I have Jet Engine installed, I have my Kadence Blocks Pro extension and my normal Kadence blocks, and I also have the Kadence Pro, so this is making the Kadence theme, the free version, the Pro version. Okay, so these are the most important ones to start off with. The first thing we need is something, a custom post type that will contain all our rooms or the things that we want to rent out or want to be able to, that people can look up for and select dates and then see if it's still available. So the thing we have to do is go to Jet Engine. You see Crocoblock made some updates and now they are having like a different kind of layout. I like it. So Jet Engine, and we're going to go to post types and we're going to create a new post type. You could add a new one and you can of course select whatever you want. I'm going to call this my so this could be rooms, this could be houses if you have different houses, this could be my Airbnb. You can select the title that works for you of course. I'm going to make this my rooms, so it's going to be like more like a hotel. You can see it, a hotel with different rooms. Okay, we're gonna attach some meta fields to the rooms. Yeah, so we have them here, meta fields. We're gonna add a new one, and we're gonna, again, you can choose the titles whatever you want of course, but it's always easy to make the titles as descriptive as possible, so it's obvious if you have to look into it later that you have an easy way to find out what the meta field is about. So let's say this bathrooms, for example. This can be just a number field, this one like this. We can say here minimum and a maximum if you want people not to if you know every room has to have at least one room or one bathroom, you can say the minimum value should be 1. So if later on one of the staff is filling in an extra room that was available and they make a mistake, then they will get a notification, oh, you put in 0 and this is not allowed, you should at least have 1 bathroom. So you can set this up. You can of course, if you are going to be the one that fills in all the data, then it might not be necessary. If you know other people will have access to the site and have to fill in this kind of data, then you might make the rules a little bit more strict so everything is as correct as possible. Same for max value. If you know there are no rooms with more than 3 bathrooms or no rooms with more than 1 bathroom, you can say the minimum and the maximum is 1, and the step value also is 1 of probably, so that means that they can only increase by 1. So if you start 1, the next value should be 2, 3, and not from 1 to 3, from 3 to 5, for example. So you can set this up. You can of course leave this open as well. As required, if you want it always to be filled in, they will get an error message if they forget to fill it in. You can also put it in, and you can also put in a default value if you think they might forget it. I'm going to set in 1 by default because I know every room probably will have 1 bathroom at least. Then this will always be filled in by default, and you can manually change this to 2 or 3 if you want to. So there's also an option. Then another one I'm going to call square feet. So this is going to be just saying something about the how big the room is. So this is also going to be a number. And here again, you can set up a minimum and a maximum if you want to, and also a step value. For example, I want the step value to be with 5 units, and then we can also description. This is something that might help if you want your people or your staff to have fill in how big the room is. For example, this is something you might put in there. I'm also going to make this required. The other thing we can fill in is, for example, extra amenities, for example. So it could be Wi-Fi, could be hairdryer, could be television, cable television, and stuff like that. Could also be a possibility. You can choose here what you want. You can make a text area or a what you see is what you get editor. You can also make a checkbox and allow custom. This means that they can fill in custom options, or you can say no, I don't want custom options. I know that Wi-Fi is going to be one. I know that air conditioning is going to be one. Let's just copy this. If you know there are fixed values and there will probably not be some extras that have to be added, you probably want to choose not to add custom values, but just fill in every value that you think might be valuable to know, and then just fill in until you have everything. You can always add more later, of course. So we have Wi-Fi, we have air conditioning, we have laundry service, for example. There's also something you might fill in here. So I'm just gonna put in a couple. What can we also have? Maybe the room service. This can also be something. And if you know that every room actually has these things, you might as well check is checked. So this means that by default it's always going to be checked, and then you cannot forget it later on. If you think that most rooms don't have these services and only one will have it, then you probably leave this off, and then you only have to check it with the right room. But I'm going to put it as on because my rooms will all have these services. Okay, now let's click on add post type. So we have bathrooms, we have square feet, we have extra amenities. You might also put in bedrooms or maybe amount of beds. So this could be a number, probably is going to be best again. So 1 bed, 2 beds. So probably should be 1 as a minimum, because every room should have at least 1 bed, and it's going to be increasing by 1. Is also required. And then click on update this post type. So what do we have now? Let's scoot this over so bathrooms and beds are together. Square feet, extra amenities, and then maybe a description might also be handy. Description. This can be a what you see is what you get. Enables people to have some more customizability, so they can put in headings, they can put in lists, they can bold some text. If you put text area, then they can only input text without any styling, and then you can format it and put it in a template and make it stylable. But I'm going to pick the editor, but of course change this to whatever you think is necessary. So I think this might be sufficient to start with. We have bathrooms, beds, square feet, extra amenity, and the description. Images might be important. So images or gallery. Let's make this image. This is going to be our thumbnail. And let's pick media is the term we need. And then we're going to select the ID or the URL you can choose. I'm going to leave this to ID. Also required. And then one more is going to be the gallery. And then this is also going to be media or gallery. Now I have to pick, gallery. You can also choose whatever you want here, but I'm going to pick media ID. So if you follow along, maybe pick the same and also make it required for voila. So now we have everything we need. This is everything containing our custom post type that has our rooms in it. Okay. So now you will see here post types. We have rooms here. So the other thing we have set up our rooms custom post type already. We also need something to store our bookings itself in. You can find your bookings inside of the bookings app with bookings tab here, but we still need to add a custom post type. So we're going to call this rentals, for example. You can call this bookings or whatever you want, and you don't need to do anything else. So only rentals, no meta fields are necessary. Click on add, and then we have both of them over here. If I click on this is empty, and here all the different bookings will be inserted every time somebody books a room. So this is necessary to make, but we don't have to do anything with it at the moment. Okay, our rooms we can now set up. So we have you can choose whatever rooms you have, for example, and then we are going to couple those rooms with some of the bookings settings as well. Yeah, so if I go to bookings and I'm going to set it up, I'm going to reset the bookings instances post type. This is our rooms, so this is the post type to get booking instances from, and then the orders post type where the orders should be stored. This is going to be, for in my case, rentals, but you can call this whatever you want, of course. This is also just normal. The required columns, this is something it will make by default, so you can add new database columns if you want to store more information. For now we're not going to do this, and just click on next, and we're gonna create a Jet Form Builder form. This is going to allow you to so Jet Form Builder is already installed. This is why I get this option here. If you don't have it installed, it will give you the option of installing, activating, and immediately creating a form all at once. So if it's not installed, Jet Form Builder, then you should click on that option so you have it installed immediately with the right form, and then we can customize the form later on as well. So we click on finish. I haven't enabled it because I already have the form installed at the moment, but if you follow along, then you should enable the last step here. Okay, we can now go to the plugin settings, and here we can change up the some of the values. You can make a lot of custom things. You can change every kind of label, so how the days should be displayed, how the months should be displayed, some other words you can change, and then we can go to configuration. You can select, I want them to be able to book per night or per day. Most booking sites I think use night, so I'm gonna leave this enabled. You can set some other options here. If you only want them to be able to book full weeks, then you have to enable this. A starting day offset, I have put in 4. This means that if they look today, they can only see 4 nights later. They can it's the first day that will be available. You can set this to 0 or to 1, of course. This just means that if they look today, they can book for the next day already. So if you know that you won't be able to get your rooms ready as fast, then you should buffer in some time here, for example. The minimum amount of days, so in my case this will be nights because I have selected per night here. So this means 2 nights is the minimum stay night. I can also set this to 1. You can set this to whatever you want. Maximum number of days, if you don't want them to book the whole summer vacation at once, then you can set a maximum here if you want to. Okay. Schedule, you can disable if you want. For every type of room you want to have some days off, like the Mondays off, then you should enable this here, because the settings here are enabled for the whole for every post or for every room type that we have. You can also set it up per room. Let's say I'm going to add 2 types of rooms later on, and you can also individually per type, so the one room can maybe be available the whole week and the other room is only available in the weekends, for example, is also possible. But if you know they are going to be the same, you're probably better off setting it up here, because this enables it for all rooms at the same time. Then days off, you can set holidays, for example. I've already added, let me open this up. You can call this whatever you want. Start day 1 of August and the end day the 6th of August. This is when I go on holidays and then they can't book my rooms, for example. So this is something you can set up here in days off. You just click on add days and you can add multiple of these weeks or days that you want. Okay. So these are the most important settings that we have at the moment. And now if we go to rooms, I'm going to set up, click on new. I can set king size deluxe room, for example. And then you see now we have some pricing settings, we have some other options, and this is because we've set up the booking plugin. These options are now enabled. Yeah, these at the bottom here, these are my settings. You see, enabled by default. My minimum is already filled in with 1. These are the meta fields that I've set up in the beginning, so these are also available to us now. Which is important here, that you can set up the pricing, so we can say 70 a night, $70 or euros, depending on which region you are. But you can also add weekend rates, so you can say Saturday and Sunday they should be 90 instead of the standard 70 as a possibility. You can also add specific rates from starting from 10 nights they get a discount, for example, and then you can display this with a banner. You can make it slower, higher, something you might want to set up, but I'm not going to bother now, but just so you know it exists. Okay, seasonal prices is also really cool. You click on add price, and then you can say this period of time, this is going to be my summer prices, for example, and then you set it up. This is a little bit higher, for example, also the 90, and this runs just until the end of August as a possibility. You can do whatever you want here, of course. Custom schedule, this is what I meant. You can, this is the same settings as you just saw, but this is only applying to the king size deluxe room. If you want to have this only available on certain days, so this is disabled, these days are enabled. This is possible individually, but I'm not going to bother. And you can also say only days off, also the same settings as you saw before, but only applying to this room then. Date picker configuration, same thing. These are the same settings as in the general plugin. You can, if you say minimum days should be higher for my deluxe room, you can set it up here individually. Then this is important, units. This means I have a sort of room, king size deluxe room, and I only have one of it. Then you can say I only have one number of rooms, and this is so my deluxe room, I'm going to call this. You might also have more of them. Let's say I have a big hotel and I have 10 deluxe rooms. I can select 10 rooms and I click on add units, and now you see I only added once the post type, one king size deluxe room post type, but within the post type I have created 10 different units. So this means if room 1 is completely booked, they will still have the availability. They won't see room 2 or room 3, but they will only see this. But the booking system will keep track of all those 10 rooms, and only when they are all 10 completely booked, then there will be no availability anymore. So this is important if you have multiple rooms, that you select them here if they are all the same. So let's say all the king size deluxe rooms are almost the same in square footage, in square meters, in bathrooms and bedrooms, then you can make different units here. Yeah. And then we have to set up our post type, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit so I won't bother you. These are just the meta fields that I just created that I'm going to be filling in, adding some pictures and stuff. Okay, then I will do the same. Afterward, and I will create a small room as well, and I do the same thing. I will add maybe just 2 more, so you can add, just to show you. They will just be added here. So I have 12 deluxe rooms, and I will add 10 small rooms as well. So I will create another post type that's called just a small room. Okay, so I'll speed it up and I'll see you in a minute. We have to install another plugin. So if I go to Crocoblock here, I have my active license here, and I have 60 more plugins that I can install with this license. This might be different, of course, if you have a different license. So if we go to install here, we're going to JetThemeCore install. This is going to enable us. I've made a video about JetThemeCore in the past as well. You might check it out if you want some more info. And I'm also going to install JetSmartFilters already, because this is going to be usable for filtering the availability of the rooms in the future. So we have activate. Oh no, I have clicked wrong here. I have to activate Jet Engine, of course. Normally it remembers everything, so you will not lose your specific things you have set up. And then JetThemeCore is also to be enabled. Voila. And then we have something else here. We have the theme builder. We can create a page template and we can add conditions. So we want this not for the entire site, of course. We want to have the singular, not front page, not posts, but we want to go to our rooms. Yeah, so we want to apply this for our singular rooms. Include all. Yeah, so that was right. Singular rooms, like this, create. So this is going to be a page template. We might title this single rooms. You might make two if you want the king size room and the small room to have a different layout. You can of course say two different templates. I'm going to use the same template for all rooms. The add header and add footer I'm not going to use. You can do this if you want specific different headers, but this is going to take in the same header, for example, that's been used in the Kadence theme setup. Add body is something that we are going to change. We're going to use the block editor. I don't have anything else installed. Template name is going to be single room content, for example, and click on create. And then we can go to the editor immediately and open it up. Then we can use whatever we want. I'm going to use the Kadence blocks, so a row layout to start with. This is going to be maybe just a normal row layout. This is a little bit different because I'm now using Kadence and Jet Engine, and the integration, as I've said before, is not always too great. So we have to see what works and what not. If you want to be sure, you're probably better off just using the Jet Engine blocks. You have dynamic field, dynamic image, but the amount of flexibility is way more limited than when you use the Kadence blocks. So I'm going to make a style dynamic background. We're going to use the post custom fields, and you see it's not getting anything, so that's the thing that's not always working. So custom input, and I'm going to use a custom meta key, so we have to look back to my Jet Engine post types, go to my rooms, and then see my image. So we have to copy this value and put it in here, image. Don't worry if it's not showing anything, it's gonna be full. Click on update, and we have set it up like this. Now we can maybe open up one of our rooms just to see if it's working. Let's click on rooms and let's click on view here. Let's go back to dashboard, Jet Engine, post types, rooms. The thing we have to change here is go to image and make it in media URL. Then it's going to work with Kadence. So media URL instead of ID. We have to go back to my post types as well. So my house, my rooms. I have to go to my king size deluxe room, and I have to change you see the image is now like gray because I have changed from ID to URL. So we have to set it up again. Let's pick this one, choose update. Let's go out and do the same for the single bed. Remove this and then choose, and the small room was this one, like this. Now the images are updated, and then click here on refresh, and now you see it's getting the image. So then we're going to add a heading, advanced text. This can be H2. Gonna click on dynamic content, post custom field, or post title. We don't have to use single room content. This is saying, so it takes in this title, but you will see on the page of it's putting in king size deluxe room, so it works. We have to still do some things with the row layout. We're going to use the theme content inner width. We're going to use a full width section. Update again. And then we're going to add some height to you can use more padding. So you can say I want to do extra large, 5 times extra large padding on the bottom and on the top. This is going to make it a bigger section, so there is more image. You can also use this, or you can also say structure, minimum height of view H of 100 means the whole screen size, the screen height. So if I put this on, you will see it goes across the whole page, but this is way too much. So you have to look a little bit what you want. Maybe use 60 view H as the minimum view H, like this. This looks nice. So, and this is going to be not readable enough, so we might want to change it. So we're going to first add a little overlay, a darker color. I have not set up any special colors. This is all default, so it's not going to be super fancy looking, but it's just to make it that I can put as much information in these videos without spending too much time on like details. You can of course pick colors, whatever you want. So now this is going to work. I'm gonna make it a bit bigger. You can use these values, 2XL, update, check again. Okay, so we have this now, and we might make it like this. So we have our heading section here, and then beneath we're going to add another row layout. We're going to again use the theme content inner width. We can make it 2 columns maybe. We can add here the advanced text, a H3, and we're going to not use dynamic text, but we're going to add, for example, description, and then add another dynamic text. Or advanced text I have to use, yeah. And then it's going to be a paragraph. This is going to be dynamic content, post custom fields. This is going to be custom input, and then we have to again check here. You can also see it here, image, gallery, and this is the description I need. Command C. And we paste this in here, Command V. Add dynamic content. Click on update, and then we can check if it works. Yes, this works. So we have it here. And then we're going to add a bit more padding maybe. So we go to our row layout again. Styling. Layout, I'm sorry. And we can set this is medium and this is medium. I think this is going to be fine. You can also set the padding from here. If you scroll down like this, you can see immediately how big it is. So this is something you can do if you want to. You can also set it just from the advanced tab here, of course. So we have that set up, and then here we're going to add some extra little things. So advanced text and H4, bathrooms. Now we're going to add a advanced text again, paragraph, and this is going to be dynamic content. This is going to be post custom field. This is going to be custom input, and this is going to be the bathrooms. Copy this, paste this here, add the dynamic content, and then same thing. Let's just duplicate this one and put it here below. Bets, and then let's duplicate this one as well and put it below. We have to change the dynamic content, of course. We're going to use bedrooms, I think I used, or is it beds? Beds, okay. So if you don't have anything showing up, that's sometimes because you spelled something wrong. Let's first click on update, and let's select this section where this is in. We're going to maybe add a little background color like this, yeah. And then we're going to add some padding as well, maybe from the right and the left. Let's keep using these values, small, and this also small, yeah. And from the top, maybe a bit more, medium, bottom, medium, like this. Click on update, and then we'll see how it looks now. So you already have a little bit of a layout coming nicely. You might add some icons, or you might replace this with icons, of course. If you don't like this, you can also add some icon here, icon settings. You can, I don't know if a bot is going to show up like this. Yep, bathrooms, for example, is possible. You can always only use the icon and remove all the texts and click on update. If you like this more, then it looks like this with the icon. As a possibility, you choose whatever you want, of course. I might use both. And then here beds, also go to the other icon settings, select icon, search for bed like this. And then let's duplicate once more. And let's all immediately duplicate this one also and put it below. Then square feet maybe. Square feet. Then first I have to change this to my square feet here. Let's select, copy, and paste this in here. Update the content, update this here. And then we can maybe change the icon. I don't know if there is something, maybe just a little arrow like this. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm at the wrong. I have to go to my heading, of course. This icon has to change like this. Click on update, refresh. Bathrooms, beds, square feet, description. So this is looking quite blank. It's not too much, but just to give you an impression of how you can create something like this. And then of course you can play around and make a way nicer way.